Ready, set, hut, hut.
As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sounds of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about the 50 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tay Von Austin.
The Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth.
It's Mountaineer pride.
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
We've no doubt tonight they shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night.
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome back into the Country Roads webcast here for another live stream. April 15th edition, and West Virginia has added another transfer to the basketball transfer in list. We can update our transfer tracker here on the CRW in a bit with one that we've been talking about for the past few streams now. I think, you go back probably at least a week ago, we were starting to talk about the predictions flying around the West Virginia woodland, Jasper Floyd. And then on the most recent stream, I even shared another prediction of that. And finally, those all came to fruition earlier today, as Jasper Floyd did indeed announce he has committed to WVU. So West Virginia gets another player from North Texas that will follow Coach Ross Hodge, this one being one that has the extra year of eligibility due to the JUCO ruling that was passed last year, has that extra year and utilizes it, hits the portal, and is coming to WVU. So another addition to the backcourt, which we were hoping to get to in the near future after the huge addition of Honor Huff. We needed some other guys to play beside him there, and I think we picked up a really good one in Jasper Floyd. So that's who we'll talk about here at the front end of this stream, and then we will, of course, update the transfer contact list. I got two more names to add that West Virginia has reached out to since yesterday's stream. So looking forward to talking about those two new names and letting you guys know where we stand on some of the contacts. Of course, we've had Jasper Floyd on commitment watch on the previous few streams. Got some other guys still on commitment watch. Hopefully we'll get good news on those as well. So that's what's kind of on the docket for this one. Pretty much a pure basketball stream. I'm going to go through those updates. We'll talk about the signings as the other four transfers have officially signed and have press releases now. We'll talk about those at the tail end. But other than that, any questions, comments you guys got, throw them there in the chat. I'll try and get to some of those throughout the stream. Appreciate you guys tuning in live here on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Those of you that are on Facebook or Twitch, I encourage you to come over to the Country Roads Webcast YouTube channel so you can get access to our pre-recorded videos and podcast episodes we put out in relation to football and such. Going to have a roster update going out, another one here, third one in the past couple of weeks, and those will continue to be coming out hot and heavy with the transfer portal opening up on the football side as well. So if you want to keep up with the roster in both WVU basketball, WVU football, you can do it by subscribing to the Country Roads Webcast YouTube channel. And if you are one that watches here on YouTube, whether watching live or on the playback, help us out by giving the video a thumbs up. Help us out with the crazy YouTube algorithm. So with no further ado, let's talk a bit about Jasper Floyd, the most recent addition for this West Virginia basketball transfer portal class, which we are super excited about the way that it's shaping up already. As you see him announcing earlier today, his commitment on Instagram, as he put it out there with the graphic there of him in the white West Virginia uniform there in the gold and blue, and super excited about this addition. So let's talk about Jasper Floyd, one that we've been teasing here in previous streams. We can now talk more extensively about. Let's pull up our transfer tracker here and showcase the full class now as we add Jasper Floyd's name to the transfer in list, joining Harlan Obioa, Brennan Lorient, Honor Huff, the other guard that we were super excited about, and then Jackson Fields, who we talked about on yesterday's stream. So Jasper Floyd, the 5th transfer edition. Of course, West Virginia also has DJ Thomas coming from the high school ranks as Ross Hodge looks to build his first roster here at WVU. Of course, on last stream, we were talking about Floyd being on commitment watch, and of course, now he commits, so he is now highlighted in blue here as an addition for WVU. We'll go over this transfer target list here towards the tail end of the stream, as we do have a couple more names to add to that list, and we'll talk about other guys that we can be on commitment watch for as well. But let's talk a little bit more about Jasper Floyd first. Let's pull up the Transfer 101 here from Keenan Cummings over on the WV Rivals site. He does such a good job keeping up with these transfer commitments and letting you know a little bit about them. So let's talk a bit about Jasper Floyd, who we've talked about, I feel like, on multiple streams, but bears mentioning yet again as he's now officially committed to WVU. 6'3", 195-pounder, spent just one season with North Texas where he averaged 9 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and 1.3 steals per game. Shot 42% from the floor and 34% from 3. So as I stated in the title of the video, another good shooter to join Huff in the backcourt, something that we like to see there. Of course, he has the defensive chops that's required to play for Coach Hodge, which he did last season, and you see that in the 1.3 steals per game, but you like the shooting percentages as well there. Floyd also experienced a run over the final 4 games of the season where he averaged nearly 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists during the NIT as a key piece on the North Texas roster, who, of course, made it there to the semifinals in the NIT there. Obviously, his familiarity, given the fact that Ross Hodge was head coach during that season, he was immediately linked to the program upon entering the transfer portal, which, you know, you can talk enough about his game, and there's a lot to like there in and of itself. But the same things that I said about Brennan Lorient, Jasper Floyd is bringing to the table also. Just having that knowledge of the system, the terminology, the way, Coach Hodge runs a practice, the way his game day routines are, every little thing there that's just those little minute details. At least you have a couple of guys now on the roster that'll be able to help you with that, and it won't be such, it makes it a little bit smoother transition when you have that, I think. The Tampa, Florida native was at Fairfield prior to that, where he started 35 of 37 games. Also spent a season at Hillsborough College, starting all 26 games. Of course, has the 1 season of eligibility remaining because of that JUCO ruling that we talked about. 5th edition for the class. We just talked about that. But let's talk about how he fits the program here from Keenan Cummings. Floyd is an athletic guard that can get downhill and put pressure on the rim on the offensive end of the floor, as evidenced by him netting 57% of his field goals and almost half of his field goal attempts in that area of the floor. A physical guard that can finish through contact, Floyd plays with a toughness on the offensive end, even displaying the ability to score with his back to the basket against smaller opponents. Floyd is comfortable taking shots in the mid-range, although that is one area that needs to improve is his shooting off the dribble. He is an effective three-point shooter, both off the dribble with a nice step back in his arsenal, as well as in catch-and-shoot situations. So as I talked about, another good shooter there to join in the backcourt. Floyd sees the floor well and is a strong passer, especially in situations where he's able to draw the defense. A hard-nosed defender, Floyd also fits what West Virginia wants to do on that end of the floor as well, which that's a very important sentence right there. And if he wasn't a hard-nosed defender, Ross Hodge wouldn't have targeted him to, get him back onto his roster again. So he's going to play good defense. That is a requirement under Coach Hodge. There aren't many questions here, as Floyd has already played under Hodge and did it effectively. There was already a key understanding of what he wants out of his players, and that familiarity could help with the transition. They want that. The fact the Mountaineers need backcourt help, and it's not a surprising development that Floyd will follow Hodge to Morgantown. So excited about the addition of Jasper Floyd. And as Keenan Cummings referenced in that Transfer 101 a little bit, really had a strong end to the season. So maybe, getting him at the best point in his career. You see North Texas put out Floyd in national postseason tournament games, 15 points per game, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and nearly 3 steals. So got it done on both ends in, the most important games. And here's a little bit of a clip of him as well. 3-point shot. So as I addressed there, another good shooter, but also I think a really good defender in his own right as well. So excited about the addition of Jasper Floyd. Now, how does he fit into the picture is the next question, right? with the transfer class that you have already. I think despite, Honor Huff being a little bit more diminutive, they would still like for him to be off ball if possible. So kind of be your combo guard, your two-man. So Jasper Floyd very well could be your starting point guard. I think he has a chance at that. He's going to get a chance to compete for that job. It just depends on what other spots West Virginia uses to fill the backcourt with here via the portal. They're going to bring in some other players, and we'll see if someone they brings in is a little bit more high rated. Maybe they'll be considered for the starting job, and Floyd will be kind of your sixth man. That's a role he could play as well. I think either way, he's going to be someone that is a key cog, is going to get a ton of minutes, and you're going to see as a constant fixture in the West Virginia backcourt this upcoming season. He knows how to get it done on defense under Coach Hodge. He can shoot the basketball for you, and I think he can facilitate that offense you mentioned there in the Transfer 101, his ability to get downhill and attack and score that way. And, of course, the way Coach Hodge's offense likes to use the 4-out, 1-in system, utilizing a lot of pick and rolls, he sounds like he'll be good in that pick and roll attacking downhill to either get to the rim and score or to dish out to a guy like Honor Huff out there setting up, spotting up to knock down a three, and then, of course, has the ability to knock him down himself. So definitely a plus addition. Could be the starting point guard. We'll see how it turns out, but definitely going to be a key piece for this upcoming season. So there's a little bit on Jasper Floyd, but let's talk about the transfer contacts West Virginia is after, because, of course, 5 transfer commits now, but they're not done in the portal yet. And there's plenty of players they're still after, and they're adding names to that list every day. And here are a couple of more that I have seen since then. One of which is one that I said I would add to the list in the last stream, mainly due to this, and that's because Honor Huff and Miles Che from UC Irvine, who just hit the portal, they have a previous relationship because Miles Che was at Chattanooga the year prior to that. They just played each other in the NIT championship game, and Miles Che, very talented scorer as well, and Honor Huff kind of pushing for him to join West Virginia as well. So we added him to the transfer list, as we said we would previously. And then we have 2 other names that West Virginia has made contact with as well. Let's pull up each of those, and then we'll talk a little bit about their games here. One of those being Arizona State transfer Adam Miller. So I believe someone in the comments last stream was asking, if we had any Power 5 targets we were going after. There are a handful, and here's another one to add to that list, and Adam Miller coming from Arizona State. In the portal, this is from John Rothstein. He's received interest from Baylor, Pitt, DePaul, Gonzaga, Texas, Illinois, TCU, ASU, Arkansas, Indiana, Clemson, and Virginia Tech. So let's look at some of his numbers from this previous season. The transfer guard is 6'3", be a senior as well. Averaging nearly 10 points per game, 2 rebounds and 2 assists, 45% from the floor, and also is a 43% three-point shooter last season. So imagine having him in the backcourt. You've got Huff, who is the best three-point shooter in the country, definitely the best in the portal, if you're asking me. We just brought in Jasper Floyd, who we just talked about could shoot in his own right. You add another 43% shooter into the mix, that would be wild. That would be an insane backcourt there. But really good shooter there, 76% from the free throw line, 2 assists to 1 turnover. So you get the 2-to-1 ratio there. Also averages steal per game. So can play defense. As we know, that's a requirement for Coach Hodge. So West Virginia contacted Adam Miller from Arizona State. There's another one that will be on our contact list as we pull it up here momentarily. Then we also have an SMU transfer, which it's funny because the last stream we talked about a guy that's last name was Traore, but this is another player. I don't know if there's any relation, but it's funny. You think about college basketball because that guy from BYU that's killed us the past 2 seasons, his name's Traore. West Virginia's already targeted one transfer that's last name's Traore, and now another one here, an SMU transfer, Johan Traore, who, according to Sam Kaiser here on social media, has heard from these following schools since entering the portal: Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, Cincinnati, Butler, Florida State, TCU, Pacific, UC Santa Barbara, LMU, and, of course, WVU. So let's look at some numbers for Traore from this past season. Then we'll pull up our transfer tracker and talk about the full contact list and talk about some other guys that are on commitment watch, since we got a commitment from a guy we've had on commitment watch here in previous streams today in Jasper Floyd. But Johan Traore, 6'11", forward, originally from France, of course, is an SMU transfer, 6.1 points per game, 3 rebounds, 50% from the field. I think it's another guy that you're targeting to round out that front court, be, your reserve there behind Obioha. We'll talk about another one of those guys momentarily when we pull up the transfer list. But that's one thing people have been asking is, backup centers, backup big men. I think we have a little bit of anxiety about it because we didn't have those big men when we needed them last year. They've done a good job picking them up thus far, and they're still doing a good job of targeting them, as you see evidenced here by the recent addition of Traore as a contact here in the portal. You look at his full numbers, 32% from the three-point line, actually pretty good for a guy his size. I don't know how many he took. Doesn't look like he takes a lot, judging by the previous 2 years, but made a big jump this season up to 32%. 68% from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, as we mentioned. Not much on the block and steals category, but definitely you could see him rounding things out due to his size as a reserve player there in your front court potentially. So Traore, another target. So let's pull up the transfer list now and talk about these contacts that West Virginia is after and see if we can't put some other guys on commitment watch like we did Jasper Floyd previously, and then he committed and joins this transfer class here. 5 transfers in now for WVU, but they're looking to continue to build that class. So let's talk about these other names that they're after here. Of course, the names in red have committed elsewhere, or they're have named finalists and West Virginia not being in that group. Of course, the names in blue have committed to WVU already. The other ones remain uncommitted. So the ones we just talked about here, Miles Che, Johan Traore, and Adam Miller. There's Adam Miller there. Let me put this all on one page here. Get that fixed really quickly. So there's the 3 names we just talked about there, Miles Che, Johan Traore, and Adam Miller, the most recent additions to this transfer contact list. And as I always have to say, this definitely is an extensive list that covers everyone West Virginia's reached out to. That's so hard to keep up with. It's impossible to have a full list, but this is everyone I've been able to see throughout the process and have continued to add to it and talk about each one of these guys in a previous stream. Ton of guys you're still in on. Ginyard from UT Martin, Norman from Michigan State, Don McHenry from Western Kentucky, Tayton Connerway from Troy, who we do have on commitment watch just because of his connection to Jackson Fields, one of our recent transfer additions there that's still remaining in the portal, but them having played together this previous season at Troy. Still after Makai Mason, another North Texas transfer, and Grant Newell. We'll see what happens there with another front court player. Wes Ennis is another one that we have on commitment watch because he did visit WVU this week, and he would be an amazing addition because, initially I had at the top of my wish list Honor Huff and Wes Ennis because they're both very talented. Huff was my preference. I thought getting both would be a pipe dream, but, after Huff committed, Ennis still visited. So I think there is still light at the end of that tunnel and still a little bit of hope there that maybe we could land Ennis as well. And since he came to Morgantown for a visit, got to have him on commitment watch. Still in the mix for Ante Brezovic, Kamani Hamilton from High Point as well, Jacob Dar from Rice, Tyrell Ward from LSU. And then another player that we have on commitment watch here, rounding out that list right now, is Parsafala, big man from Oregon State. I think is one we're keeping an eye on, much like we talked about with Traore down here. That's a guy that could be a reserve big man for you, another center you could add into the mix. He's, 260, 270 pounds, so great size, just like Obioha, to go with a 6'9", 6'10 frame. So keeping an eye on Fala under commitment watch because he did have a Zoom meeting with WVU. Then on the previous stream, we talked about Jamel Jones, Seydou Traore from Iowa, not to be confused with the Traore we just discussed on this stream, Marcus Millender and Jacoby Coles. And then, of course, the 3 names we just discussed. Names to keep an eye on there in the transfer portal that West Virginia has contacted, including 2 or 3 there that I still have on commitment watch right now. Maybe we'll talk about more of those names in the near future. But that's what I had as far as the transfer update side of things in terms of picking up a new commitment in Jasper Floyd and then updating the contact list as we've added a trio of new names there to the list. And I'll get to some of your all's comments here momentarily before we wrap up the show. But lastly, I did want to share these press releases of the transfers that have now signed, which, of course, everyone besides Jasper Floyd, who just now committed, has signed. So 4 of the 5 transfers you saw on our transfer in list there on our transfer tracker have signed. So we'll talk a little bit about each of those briefly really quick, and then I'll get to some of your all's comments before we wrap up. But take a swig as my coffee of press releases here. All right, let's start here with the one that came out first. This one is a few days ago now, but Harlan Obioha was the first signing that was announced. 7-foot, 280-pound senior from Kansas, comes to West Virginia from UNC Wilmington, where he played this past season for the Seahawks. You get a statement here from Coach Hodge. We're excited to welcome Harlan to Morgantown. He has been a part of the winning championship and brings NCAA tournament experience with him. He has continued to get better throughout the course of his college career and gives us a physical presence on both ends of the floor. Last year at UNCW, he produced 17 double-digit scoring efforts and had 5 games with at least 10 rebounds. Of course, started his career at Niagara. He also was there, and when he was there, he averaged 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists per game in his high school year. So really impressive coming out of high school. I think he was also an offensive lineman recruit coming out of high school as well. First team All-MCL honoree, first team All-State, and was the Kansas 2A Player of the Year, 1,000-point scorer there in high school. So there's a little bit about Obi Oha from his press release. Let's take out the other 3 now as well. What's next up was Brennan Lorient, of course, coming over from North Texas. And when we first started talking about Ross Hodge coming, Brennan Lorient was the transfer that I was most hoping we would pick up from there. And so glad that we did end up doing that. I think he's probably the most underrated addition that we've added via the portal. Although you guys know Honor Huff is my favorite addition, Lorient is super underrated. And here's a little bit from his press release. Lorient, a 6'9", 215-pound senior forward from Florida, comes to West Virginia from North Texas, where he played last season. And then Coach Hodge's statement here, we are thrilled to have Brennan Lorient at West Virginia University. Brennan has won at every level of basketball and brings with him Final Four experience. He has improved every year and is an incredibly high basketball ceiling. Last year at North Texas, he was named AAC First Team All-Conference and Sixth Man of the Year. Played in all 36 games, came off the bench, averaging nearly 12 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. Scored in double figures 21 times and scored a career-high 20 points twice. Played at 2 seasons at FAU. There is where he had the Final Four experience there. He played in 21 games, helping them reach that Final Four back in 2023. Graduated from Calvary Christian Academy in Florida in high school, where he helped lead them to the 2022 Florida High School Athletic Association 4A state championship, number 3 end-of-season national ranking, and a 26-2 overall record. Prior to that, he was at Forest Hill High School, where he was the Marion County Boys Basketball Player of the Year. So success at every place he's been, and hopefully that continues at WVU for Brennan Lorient. And then, of course, my favorite addition thus far via the portal, just because he was number 1 on my wish list, and then we were able to pick him up, and that's Honor Huff, the 5'10 senior, originally from Brooklyn, New York. West Virginia has such a great history with those guards and those players from the New York, New Jersey area. Now we get another tough one here in Huff, a 5'10", 168-pounder from there, coming to West Virginia from Chattanooga, where he played the last 2 seasons. Coach Hodge's statement here is, we are excited to have Honor Huff be a part of the Mountaineer basketball program. Honor has been a part of winning, most recently, the NIT championship. He has been a great personality that people gravitate towards and will represent the state and university well. Of course, this past season at Chattanooga, Huff led the country with 131 3-point field goals while shooting nearly 42% from 3, earning all Southern Conference first-team honors. Of course, led Chattanooga to the NIT title, averaging 15 points per game in 36 minutes. Shot 42% from the field and 82% from the free throw line. Career high 31 points against VMI, where he hit 9 of 10, 90% from the 3-point range in that game. Ridiculous numbers there. All Southern Conference second team honors the year prior, and Division I all district team. Sat out the season before that. And of course, his first year there, he attended VMI and was all freshman team there, starting in 18 of 32 games. In high school, he attended Perkiomen School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where he averaged nearly 23 points, 5 assists, and 2 rebounds, helped them to a number 25 national ranking. Before that, he was at another school in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where he holds school records for most threes in a season, most threes in a game, and the most career-made 3-pointers. Pretty impressive there from Honor Huff. And then lastly, the most recent addition that we talked about on the previous stream was Jackson Fields, and he is also already signed. So got to expect that Jasper Floyd signing will probably be announced in short order, maybe even be able to share the press release for his signing on the next stream we do. We'll keep a lookout for that, and of course, share his press release once it happens. But the last one we have to talk about here is Jackson Fields, who was just announced earlier today. He's 6'8", 210-pound senior forward from Missouri City, Texas. Comes to West Virginia from Troy, where he played the last 3 seasons. Jackson brings with him NCAA tournament and championship experience, Coach Hodge said. He is a versatile player who happens to be an incredible person. He also continues to improve, which speaks to his character and work ethic. This past season, Fields started 33 of 34 games, averaging 8 points and 5 rebounds, while shooting 49% from the field and 72% from the free throw line. Of course, helped lead Troy to the Sun Belt Championship and an NCAA tournament appearance. He attended Lawrence E. Elkins High School, finished his senior season with 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist, was all academic and all district first team there in his senior season. He was also named Defensive Player of the Year for the district. So shows one of the things that he's very talented at, and one of the reasons West Virginia went and got him was his defensive capabilities there. He also received multiple D1 offers to play football as a wide receiver, so speaks to his athleticism there as well. With Jackson Fields, the forward West Virginia has added. So just to round out here what I had for you guys before we get some of your all's comments before we wrap up, Jasper Floyd, a talented guard joining the West Virginia fold here, the 5th transfer edition, can help on both ends of the floor. Good defensive player, good on offense, both handling the ball, passing it, good in those pick and roll situations Ross Hodge likes to use, and can knock down some shots himself. I think he has a chance to be the West Virginia starting point guard. We'll see how it plays out with the rest of the transfer portal additions, though. Of course, then we hit on the transfer contact list, added 3 new names to that list. Adam Miller from Arizona State, Seydou Traore from SMU, Miles Che from UC Irvine there. Add to a long list of transfer players West Virginia's after. Got a few on commitment watch there. Tayton Conaway from Troy, Wes Ennis from Lincoln Memorial, and Parsifala from Oregon State being the ones I have on commitment watch currently here via in this stream. And then, of course, shared the press releases of the signing of the other 4 transfer players, as West Virginia now has Obi Oha, the center, on board from UNC Wilmington, Brennan Lorient, the forward, on board from North Texas, the guard Honor Huff on board from Chattanooga, forward Jackson Fields on board from Troy, and then soon Jasper Floyd will sign as well, as he has committed. That, of course, was the main subject of this stream. So that's what I had for you guys. I'll catch up to some of your all's questions and comments, then we will call it a stream here. Hey, what's going on, James Weekly? Good to see you. What's going on, Devil Dog? Good to see you as well. Channel member Trey Edwards, also good to see you as always. Says Hodge is doing some daggum work out here. Oh, son, let's go get some more. Hey, that's right. That's right. Killing the transfer portal right now, and hopefully it continues. Got a good list of contacts that they're after there, and hopefully here in the near future I'll be back doing a stream talking about another commitment there. Maybe one of the guys we have on commitment watch. That'd be good. We had Floyd on commitment watch and it worked out, but love for it to work out again. Hey, what's up, Silas? Let's go, Mountaineers. Field sounded good on Paul's stream earlier. Don't like the fact his mom and dad are Clemson royalty in a sense. Oh, I didn't realize that. I haven't had a chance to watch that one. I think it ended right when I started mine. So after I get done, I'll probably watch Paul's, but that's awesome that he had Fields on there. Good to see Paul already working with some of the incoming transfers and doing a good job speaking to them. But I'm excited about Fields, just like I am a lot of these transfer editions, and excited to watch that show as well. Eric Flowers, good to see you, man, says it's coming around. Hey, that's right. This transfer portal class is shaping up to be a really good one, I think. Trey Edwards says Floyd will be a dog. I got a feeling. Hope so, man. Hope so. I think he can be a good player. Devil Dog 44 says I've been a very vocal on the fence skeptic when it comes to Coach Hodge. I have warmed slightly to cautiously optimistic. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. You're getting there, Devil Dog. I think that he's slowly, winning people over with what he's doing here. Of course, his initial introduction did a lot to win people over. Both, of course, going out to the the baseball game, talking to people, of course, and then his press conference, and then now what he's doing in the portal, I think has really turned some heads, because some people thought, oh no, donors are upset. We're not gonna be able to get players. And, on paper, I said it in the last stream and I'll say it in this one, on paper, I think this portal class is shaping up to be better on paper than last year's portal class. Keywords there, because Javon Small ended up being way better than anyone expected. But this portal class is really good thus already, and I think has the chance to get even better. You guys know I'm super excited about it. When they got number 1 on my wish list, Honor Huff, I was sold from that point. But glad to hear you're coming around too, Devil Dog, for sure. Samuel Cordell says, hoping that the Hawthorne visit went great and we get a recommitment from him. Fingers crossed, Samuel. Me too. I talked about that on the previous stream. Still working the high school ranks as well. We've got DJ Thomas on board, but Braden Hawthorne would be a huge addition for this team. I mean, I could even see him as being the starting 3-man if we were able to get that recommitment from him, Samuel. So I'm really hoping that we still got a chance to get him back into the fold. That would be awesome. Russell Wall with the $1 million question here. Is Jaden Stone still on the team? I have no idea. I mean, here's the only thing I can tell you is that he is still listed on the university's official roster, so take that for what it's worth. But I do know that he wasn't with the team even for the final, 2 weeks or so of the previous season. But I don't think I've seen his name pop up in the portal. Now, his injury that he suffered, from what I've understood, was a pretty scary one. Is he even going to play basketball anymore? Is another question that I think is up for debate. So I really don't know enough about Jaden Stone's status to comment one way or the other, but all I can say is that I wish him well, hope he recovered from that injury. And if he does come back, that would be a heck of an addition to our roster if he was to stick at WVU. We'll see what happens, but kind of to be determined right now what Russell would be, I guess, the best way to answer that one. Devil Dog 44 said, how about the WVU cheer squad with first place at nationals? Looks like WVU is getting competitive in other athletics. Now it's time for the revenue sports. Let's go. And hopefully this is a big year for those revenue sports, Devil Dog, basketball and football, both with new coaches this year. And I like the way the rosters are shaping up. But yay, I didn't even know that one. Shout out to WVU cheer squad then. Little golf clap for them. First place at the nationals. Hey, Another WVU sports team doing great. We had the rifle team win the natty. We had the runner McCabe win the natty. Now the cheer squad. And hey, how about while we're at it, we got to mention the WVU baseball team right now, right? 10-game win streak, or is it up to 11 now? One of the two. I think they're 18-1 on the road this season and 30-4 overall. First place in the Big 12. Shout out to the WVU baseball team, man. Hope they keep it up. I think they're playing probably just now started that game. I think they're playing tonight at 6. So hopefully they pick up another win. So shout out to all those other WVU athletics teams doing good. Good to see you, JR. Glad to see you pop in for a live stream. Hadn't seen you in a while. And it is against Marshall. That's right, Silas. Thanks for reminding me that. Got to watch them beat the Thundering Turds tonight. Yep. Let's hope so. Hey, don't jinx it, Trey. Don't jinx it. I see you in there. But yeah, shout out to WVU baseball. Hopefully they pick up another win tonight. They're having an awesome season. The only other thing I wanted to touch on was the fact that I am going to be putting out a roster update video, pre-recorded video on the channel soon, because we do have a couple more names that have hit the portal. One of them being running back Judah Price is hitting the portal, and then it looks like Jack Samarco was one that shocked me, maybe hitting the portal as well. No longer listed on the official roster, and that's kind of how this thing has been going. Once they're no longer listed on the roster, then they usually announce they're hitting the portal. So 2 more names off the roster, it looks like. So I'll be doing a football roster update, so look out for that going up on the channel in a pre-recorded video here, either late tonight or early tomorrow. So that's something to look out for on the football side, as there's going to be plenty of transfer portal news there. So as I like to say to you guys that watch these live streams on Facebook and Twitch, be sure to come over to the CRW YouTube channel, subscribe here so you can stay up to date, not only as I do in these live streams for the basketball side, but we do a ton of pre-recorded content, both video-wise and podcast episodes for updates on the football team, covering all of their roster movements through the offseason as well. But we'll continue to cover it here on the basketball side. Appreciate you guys that watched on any of those 3 platforms, but you guys that watched here on YouTube, whether you watch live or on the playback, just take a second, hit that thumbs up button, fast, easy, and free. Helps us out a ton with that YouTube algorithm. If you didn't get a chance to chat here live in the chat, throw your thoughts in the comments. Always appreciate those interactions as we continue to try and grow the CRW community throughout Mountaineer Nation. And lastly, Drumwolf and Tosh Miller. Both of you guys, please send me an email, countryroadswebcast@gmail.com. Want to get those winnings to you guys from the tournament challenge that we did here. So you guys send me an email, Tosh Miller and Drumwolf, countryroadswebcast@gmail.com. Talk to you guys about that. But it's pretty much all I had, guys. West Virginia transfer class shaping up to be a really good one. Excited to have another addition in the backcourt with Jasper Floyd. Long been rumored, now all but official. Just waiting on him to ink the paper there. And when that happens, we'll share his press release like we did for the other WVU signings here in this one. 5 transfers already in the class. 1 high school freshman. Got high hopes for another high school freshman. We'll see what happens there. And a ton of other transfers West Virginia is after in the portal that we talked about there on our transfer tracker, and we'll continue to add names to that list as West Virginia reaches out to more players, or if any other commitments come back in, we'll come back and talk about those as well as I continue to keep you up to date on this West Virginia basketball transfer movement and the football transfer movement throughout this offseason. Sure, I'll be back live with you guys again tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have more news, and I'll also have that video out on the football side in the near future. But appreciate you guys as always. Hope you have a good rest of your day. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.